Kia ora koutou katoa. Pleased to be here. Let me say that there's lots of ways to get from birth to death, and all of them work. A lot of our problems, I think, with Māori health, community health, I regard not as stop signs but as guidelines as to what we may do to find solutions. And while death is always news somewhere, but death should never ever be seen as the nemesis of wellness and being alive. And often this is the mistake that we make in putting up a standard of what is health, what is good health. So I represent the iwi Tūhoe, located around the Aotearoa area. We created a miracle some 5 years ago. We made a national park disappear, and we're now doing our best, trying our best to reconnect people to nature and to Te Urewera. For many Māori, well-being is known as toi ora. Well-being, it's having a purposeful life. It's holistic wellness. On the other side of that continuum, if we were to look at it as a continuum, is a useful concept, a word called kahupo, which generally means being spiritually blind and having a life that is meaningless and to live in a state of dis-ease. So the opposite, if you like, of toi ora, of wellness, is not death, but it's being spiritually blind, not having any purpose in one's life. So toi ora is a little bit different from the word that we generally use, which is hauora. Hauora, to many, refer to physical well-being, whereas toi ora is much broader and it's much more holistic in its view. Toi ora is also known by many Māori communities and many Māori as Mauri ora. You might have heard of the expression when people get up to do formal speeches. They start off by saying Tūhoe Mauri ora. This is more of a blessing. It cannot be translated as hi, hello, how are you? It's more of a blessing which is, I wish wellness, I wish well-being on all of us. And the well-being is not just pointed at people, but at the environment, at the world, our atmosphere that we all live in, our lifestyle. That is Tūhoe Mauri ora, is our connectivity with everything in our universe and in our world. So it's a blessing, it's a saying, Tūhoe Mauri ora. So toi ora or Mauri ora then has components, this holistic well-being. These components are interdependent and they are connected with each other. In no particular order, there is one's wairua or spirit, and that represents our immortality. It's seen as the imperative for health and well-being. Then there's the hinenaro, or the intellect. This is metaphysical, and its function is to informing the human being. It's our rational side. A fourth component of toi ora is the whatu manawa or nākau, the emotional part of a person. It's also metaphysical, meaning it has spiritual qualities and physical qualities to it. Our emotions are our expressions. It's largely irrational, but, irrational is connected to the imagination that we all need and we all have. And then there's the tinana. This is the physical being of a person. This is our mortality. It's all provisional. And this is where we get our pragmatism from. And so, in this country, we tend to focus on the tinana, the physical well-being, whereas in the Māori worldview, we need to focus on the wairua of the person. And when one can balance and reach and connect with one's wairua, the wairua helps with the well-being of the intellect, of the emotions, and the physical. So, that's toiora, all of these elements that in order to be optimum, in order to have synergy and balance, they must be interconnected, they must be seen together because they affect each other. They are all effective forces to each other. So, for example, if someone is being emotionally abused, none of us here would think that it does not affect the physical well-being of the person or the spiritual well-being of the person. If someone was being affected physically with illness, then it also touches the spirit and the intellect and the emotion part of the person. So these things, these parts are not silos, independent of each other, that we should treat independently. That we go to one source to get well in this component and go to another source to get well in that part. And often, in our country, these things are quite separate, they are territorial, and they don't talk with each other. So, all of these elements together is mauriora. It is well-being, also known as toiora. So, the question is, how do we sustain or restore that well-being? How do we do that when it is depleted, when it's lost, when it's eroded, when it is changed by life? Well, one way, not the only way, but one way is by providing genuine experiences of the vibe of life. And these can be expressed in the terms wana, which may equate having a gratitude for life, the thrill of being alive, the pleasures and the excitement of being alive. We need that, you know, whether you are 99 or 9 months old. We all need to feel that we have presence, that we belong, that we are loved, and that we can love. Wehi is another way of feeling and experiencing the vibe of life. Wehi is spoken of as the appreciation for being alive, the wonder of it all, the awe of life, and when we stand in amazement of who we are, where we are, and to whom we belong. Ihi is the rapture of life. Experiences of bliss, euphoria, and delight about life. There are too many people, too many Māori children who do not have these experiences. For one reason or another, they are denied it, or their lives are absent of it. Without wana, wehi, and ihi, we cannot renew the Tūhoe. So we then live a life of despair, drudgery, and ignominy. So the illusion is that we must deal with the language of health. What does it mean? What do we mean by it? What do we mean by well-being? Graham Norton, just before the session, advised us that patient comes from the word waiting without complaining. How sad. That patient means a sick person, a victim, a sufferer. And the only words for healer or a mender is a physician, a doctor, and a therapist. That's quite narrow, in my view. Anyway, there are things that we are doing within my iwi, Tūhoe, to do our very best in restoring Māori ora, in restoring well-being. We're just starting off with it. We don't have all of the answers, but we are unafraid. So, te hei Māori ora to all of you, life. May we all live it well. Kia ora.